and we're definitely loading in this time. 100%. No stops, no goes, and we're going to see, again, the double wiper. Please more double wiper, and the Tetras on the side of Kings, which are standout weapons.
Yeah, I love that. Last Resort is coming out with a Stamper and a Wiper. So looking at the map too, you can see that Last Resort is playing again that same way. They had two members go to that right side of the map, instantly drop and rush into King's plat area. And Kings was actually there right away to put a stop to that. Looks like exactly what Toby and I said at the beginning of this. They knew, okay, this is exactly what Last Resort's going to do. Let's meet them there and put a stop to this. And now Kings in turn is on the tower, pushing into Last Resort's plat and taking the lead.
Yeah, lots of space taken here, and the Booyah's on deck as well. So Booyah and Wavebreaker on deck. So this lead could go quite a long way. They broke that first checkpoint, the little checkpoint, the slow me down a little bit checkpoint, and they're both rising up to the bigger checkpoint. Now, two members on Kings though go down pretty quickly. The Booyah delays a little bit, but there's only one left on King's side as ProChara's team Last Resort do retake that tower and do start a push. The jumps coming in though. Been a bit greedy, I think. A little bit greedy on the jumps.
That was a classic Tetra move, I think. You know, Tetras can just jump in no matter where the jump in is at and just try and make something happen. Exactly what happened there. Arashi, though, was right there to put a stop to that. And now we can see Last Resort trying to get into mid, but it's getting quite staggered here. Two members down now on the side of Last Resort as Kings is here instantly working together to take down these members of Last Resort and rushing into Last Resort's plat area once again.
Yeah, Last Resort struggling to stabilize there after stopping the tower and giving another opportunity to Kings to push in. The burst bomb's coming in to try and stop this Tetris from... They know he's there. They know he's hiding there. Doesn't quite get away with it. Has to jump out, but the checkpoint's still progressing, and the Reslider on deck. There it is. Goes right in just to clear a bit of space, just to guarantee that checkpoint one more time. The Wipers diving as best they can, but it's not quite getting anything for them as Kings push this tower ever closer to that final checkpoint.
Yeah, Kings is just continuing to push the tower, and they're doing a really nice job at just kind of stalling it here and not necessarily letting Last Resort get in a position to take mid at all or take control of the tower themselves. Arashi there doing what Arashi does, dropping down, getting a nice trade with Shelton. But, you know, Last Resort not quite able to get any space in mid. I mean, look at all this pink ink. Last Resort is not able to paint at all to create space for themselves to be able to push.
Yeah, a lot of painting output coming out here, and I mean, I think a lot of that comes down to that heavy, right? The thing with Last Resort is whether their comp is great at being super aggressive, if they're trying to retake space, they have practically no range. Their chainsword is their highest range weapon there. So they have to struggle and fight in tooth and claw to get that last little bit of space. However, they have managed it, and that first checkpoint has disappeared in record time. The specials are online. They got the hammer, they got the zipcast. Here we go, Spider-Man going in, gets one, looking for the second. Just about gets the second as well, and that's Kings on the back foot now as Last Resort finally taking some meaningful space in this game.
Last Resort able to get through the checkpoint and now continue to get past the second checkpoint, getting points down on the board. They almost have the lead here, just a few more points, and just like that, Last Resort able to take the lead and now get to the third checkpoint and continue to count down here. They do have a member down, but they are still able to stagger themselves here and work together to get points down and continue to get the tower all the way down to 9. They do have 3 members down. Kings is now finally able to get a grip on the tower and get a grip of their plat now that they have a complete wipeout. But that was such a great push from Last Resort. It seemed like as soon as Chara was able to get in a position to use that Zipcaster to get that top right and take down those 2 members of Kings, that was the start of that amazing push.
Yeah, it looked like they were using Booyahs. They were losing a lot of their specials just to try and get that little extra distance that they could, and it did work out. Getting past that last checkpoint is huge. That last checkpoint puts a buffer between them and Kings. So now Kings have to push through that last checkpoint static. That means a lot. It might seem like just, oh, it's points. It's just extra points. No, that last checkpoint, that's when the tower is static, you have to fight around a small objective, and it can be a real pain to get that. Last Resort now trying to fight for their back control as Kings already were on the aggressive, taking down multiple members. The tower being held, just the chainsaw alive, and that's a wipeout. Kings huge opportunity for them to push forward. They're gonna try and take the aggressive stance. They want to stop them from getting to the tower checkpoint as Kings try and fight their way, getting closer and closer to that final point. 2 members go down, a third as well, and the Booyah's alive, but no, no hero plays here.
Oh my gosh! Now a complete wipeout onto Kings in the last 3 seconds here. What an amazing defense there from Last Resort. Moments like that really worry me, because if you don't play your defense right, if you just drop in and stagger your teammates, have one member go down and then another, it can get really dangerous. So that was super clutch for Last Resort there right at the last second to make sure that they didn't go down. They just played patiently because they knew that they had the lead, and just like that, they were able to take down 3 members of Kings, stop the tower completely, and take game 1 of the set.
I like to think that Kings were relying a lot on their Tetras there. I mean, Tetras, it's a very run-in, die, respawn, run-in type weapon. You know, you run a lot of QR on it, and that was keeping them somewhat alive. I mean, we saw it multiple times throughout their retakes and their pushes. The Tetras would die first, respawn, and come back in before any of the other members of Kings had gone down, and that helped them keep mid, and that helped them sort of hold that space for themselves. I mean. Well, it got Last Resort the map though. Like that staggered play, it doesn't really work when you have Splatana wipers camping the jump. You could just hold down that click button and one shot, and there's nothing you can do about it. So Last Resort take that first map, and we're going into a counter pick for Kings. Thing is though, what are we expecting Kings to counter pick here? I mean, I off the top of my head, what mode do you think they would run to get themselves back in this game, Rissa?
My first thought, of course, is that Kings would be picking something splat zones.
Yeah.
Is that
really?
your first thought, Toby?
You think it's splat zones? I'm not sure, Rissa. I mean, it might even be Rainmaker. You never know.
But regardless, I think if they're going to stick with the Tetra comp, I think that's going to be the main thing they're really going to want to highlight, is what enables them to set up their Tetra to, make those distracting and really aggressive plays for them, whether it's zones, whether it's Rainmaker. I could see just making sure that they pick something that will help set up that Tetra to play really distractly and aggressively.
Yeah, it's that distraction, really, isn't it? You're looking for a Tetra to basically run in and take the attention of half the team. Like, what's nothing more annoying than you're trying to push the tower and there's some little bug just buzzing around, like maybe not getting kills per se, but just being annoying, and you can't do anything about it. You have to look at it, and then you're like, well, I'm looking at the Tetras and I died from the heavy because the heavy had positioning because we didn't have that focus. So that type of gameplay, especially at Kings here, is I think it's helping them. Maybe not in that last one, but it was definitely it was close, and it was helping them stop Last Resort from stabilizing in a lot of those situations. But again, like double wiper, well, wiper chainsaw, in fact, is just it's just an annoying comp to fight. I can feel the frustration. Like, you gotta watch out for the burst bombs. The hammer comes out of nowhere. You're seeing these blade wipes going everywhere. Like, it's just ink blades that you have to avoid. It's like a game of it's like a game show. You know, you have to duck under one, then duck to the side of the other, and then there's another one coming at you, and you're just struggling. And
there's a zipcaster.
Yeah, zipcaster coming in as well. Like, what are you supposed to do? What are you trying to avoid here? You can't really do anything about it. But what are we going into next, Rissa? I've talked. We have the next map already. Kings have already counterpicked. What are we going into for our next map?
Counterpick has come in, and as we can see on stream here, we are going to be going to Splat Zones, and this time it'll be on Flounder Heights. I think this is... I mean, anytime I commentate or play on Flounder Heights, it's always chaotic, no matter what the mode is. There's so many flank angles. There's so many different paths to get to either zone on the walls of this, and it can just get so chaotic. So with the way that first match went, I could see this being so chaotic. One team has a Tetra, the other team has a Stamper and a Wiper. Let's see, looking at these comps and see what we see, Toby.
Octobrush. That's the one thing that pops out to me. I mean, we've seen quite a few in the match so far. It's kind of the alternative to Chainsaw. You still got that Zipcaster to be annoying, and I mean, I'm more interested in the abilities. What? Are you seeing the abilities on Last Resort side? Literally all quick respawn. They all had quick respawn mains. I mean, I guess like it's a long map, right? Getting back in is quite hard. So going down, I'm just back alive already. I don't have to worry, you know? Like it's gonna do a really good job at stalling out zones, that's for sure.
Yeah, having quick respawn like that is just going to make sure that you are consistently getting to the zone and jumping in really fast. And like Toby said, it can take a little while to swim into the zone. And this team wants to play fast. They know that it's their strength, and they are doing it really well already here as Last Resort already in control of the zone. And we see them doing a really good job at making sure they're not pushing in too far. Specials are starting to come out from Kings here as they are working at getting into the zone, and they are able to stall out their zone at least here to work their way into the other team's zone, but they have to be careful of that crab that's out.
Not the crab! Anything but the crab! Oh no, but you know what? They don't need to worry. They've got their own crab, and the crab is going to help them stabilize that final zone. What does it matter really when the rest of the Last Resort are already alive? In seconds, like they're already back up because of QR. You've won one fight and now you've got another one to fight. You've invested all your specials and here comes the hammer. 2 of your members are down and you're struggling. You get the trade, but you've lost zone control already. Like it's a tough comp to fight about, and like you said, it's absolute chaos.
It really is. I mean, you think you get the Wiper down, you think you get Arashi down, and then all of a sudden Arashi just appears out of nowhere with a hammer just on your ramp area there. It's just absolute chaos here. Arashi there once again in mid, guarding the zone, is going to get called out, and Havoc tries to appear there to help Arashi. But finally, Kings here has regrouped together. It looked like they really needed to step back and kind of let the members of Last Resort come to them. Now they're in a position where they are able to finally paint around, set up in defense here to guard the zone and get their specials ready to try and get the lead.
Yeah, we're watching Chara here, and they do have the crab, so watch out for that. The crab, if they don't get picked off here, oh my god, they've been isolated what? Chara went deep, and it did not work out. 2 members down for Kings, and zone control straight back to Last Resort. Chaos on the map, everybody's struggling. I mean, Founder, one of my favorite maps, and just for the absolute chaos, like you said, that just tends to come through, and we're seeing it in action, full action here today.
The zone here, and like when Flounder zones is in play too, a lot of times exactly this same thing can happen. One team will hold their zone and the other team is going to be holding their zone, and it's really just a poking battle almost, seeing who can poke at the other team and get the picks first and get in a position to finally push over. Like we're seeing here, Kings finally was in a position to poke at Last Resort and come over into their zone to finally cap it for themselves. And Kings, if you look at too, they only have a 8-point penalty here, so the lead is absolutely in their grasp. It's so close. They're just having to make sure that they really get a feel for this QR quick respawn comp that Last Resort is playing, and it looks like they're slowly getting it down. They just need a few more points to try and get the lead for themselves.
Yeah, they're struggling. They were struggling a lot to keep the zone control there, just from the absolute paint pressure that Last Resort was putting on. I mean, like you said, the QR, it's a problem. You have to think like, well, on a map like this, if they're respawning constantly, they're never really down. You're always in a 4v4. You don't know what angle they're coming from. They could have been jumping in. There might be a bit of stealth jump going on, a little bit of object shredder, and you need to rely on those crabs. Kings, though, like you said, finally in full control. 2 members do go down, but they've already pushed it down to 18. So even if Last Resort get the stabilization here, which is looking like they will, they've got a long way to go to bring this back.
Yeah, about 50 seconds do remain of this match for Last Resort to work themselves to getting the lead. They have a very small penalty here of about 7 points, but with only, I think this is this Storm Hero up on the splash here? Yes, it's Storm Hero up on the splash, was the only one up, but he was able to get a few jump-ins though, using that QR from Last Resort to get a few jump-ins, act as a beacon himself. Unfortunately though, it looks like Kings has really got a grasp for the way that Last Resort was using that QR to jump in like that, and they were able to put a shutdown to that. So about 15 seconds remaining here as Last Resort needs to figure out what to do to get into the zone.
Yeah, so the QR's not going to come into anything right now. If they die, it's going to take too long for them to get back. They do get one, looking for the neutralization on the zone, but they can't really do anything when the Booyah comes in and 3 of them go down. King securing that second match on the splat zones. Flounder, interesting map. It's interesting.
Very interesting.
There's a lot that's going on. Like you're trying to break it down. You see a lot of people jumping in, a lot of QR coming through. Yeah, like you said, King's getting a good grasp of things, using that crab to stop those players from filtering back in after they go down, and just about securing the zone. Well, securing the zone, securing the win even for them on that map. But it's not over yet. It's just 1-1, and that was the Splat Zones match. That's the typical. Japanese best mode, and like we've said before, Kings is a 3 Japanese player team. You've just got Chara, who's a British player, just kind of corralling them in. So I'm curious how they're going to react on the other modes going forward.
I know, and since Last Resort, so the way these counter picks work is, for those watching, you cannot pick a mode that you have already won on. So Last Resort, looking at this, since it's Last Resort's turn to counterpick, since they lost that last match that we got to watch, Last Resort cannot pick tower control, but they can pick any of the other modes. And, you know, they got to be really careful about this. They have to know, okay, this is mainly a team mostly made of Japanese players who are really strong on splat zones. So how do we want to move forward counterpicking that? In terms of mode, and then also with the play style and weapons that Kings has been picking, how do we want to counterpick it in terms of that as well?
You know, the Chad play right now, counterpick splat zones, play your splat zones, because they can still do that. It's just Kings that can't pick splat zones. So if they wanted to, they could go straight back to splat zones. But I think it's a pretty, at least for me, it seems pretty evident that it's going to be a Clan Blitz pick. I mean, you're looking at Octobrush, you're looking at Double Wiper. That seems pretty evident to me. It seems like something they would definitely bring out in this situation. Just to that same confusion. You know, I'm gonna be confusing. I'm gonna be annoying. I'm gonna do the same thing over and over again. Just throw my body at them and just disrupt their gameplay style. And on Clan Blitz, that's gonna work really well, I think, in Last Resort's favor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I could see that too working for Rainmaker as well, but you know, Rainmaker has that point where everything can spiral really, really, really fast, in particular for Rainmaker. So I totally agree. I think Clan Blitz is absolutely the play here. And speaking of that, the counter pick has actually come in. We can see it now. It is going to be Clan Blitz, and we are going to be heading back to Museum. So heading back to the first map that we got to see these two teams play on, but this time, instead of tower control, it's going to be Clan Blitz.
Looking like a comfort pick to go back to Museum, to be honest. I mean, it works really well for the Tanners, like for the Wiper and the Chainsaw. It's a good map for them because they got a lot of places they can anchor onto with the Zipcaster, and a lot of places you can throw a hammer. So I could see that being the reason that they've gone for that one. Also, the Clan basket is quite deep into spawn on this one, and maybe from them at least, like, you know, my third eye, my mind's eye is telling me that potentially they're picking that because they don't want the Tetris to sneak in and get those secret sneaky clam scores. We'll see that there. We'll see that in effect because we are already loading into our next match of this set.
Loading into game 3, and remember the score right now is tied up 1-1. Looking at these comps as well, we are going to be seeing no Tetras on the side of Kings this time. Seeing a Machine, Splash, Mini, and Sword. And then on the other side, for Last Resort, we're seeing the same comp that we've been seeing from them, their tried and true comp. Starting out here, 3 members now of Last Resort actually go down, and Kings here instantly taking control of Last Resort's plat, rushing up to the basket.
Yeah, they did manage to temporarily stall the Clam score, so they have managed to stabilize just a little bit. 77 isn't an insane score. The Zipcaster not quite getting what they want, and then the Tanner just like, yeah, I know your jumps there. You can't do anything about that, as Last Resort already charging towards that basket to take that space. They've got clams on deck. There's the big clam already in. Arashi has the hammer, looking for the hammer. I was thinking they were going to get something sick there, but Arashi, no, going to play a bit. I say that again, they get the trade at least. As 60 points do go down for Last Resort, which is pretty solid, I'd say.
Yeah, that was an amazing push from Last Resort. It seemed like Arashi leading that had absolutely no fear. He just went in with 7 clams. His teammates threw that final clam at him to make that power clam, and no fear, just charged in, able to open up that basket. Now Arashi there dropping down once again, playing that right drop that Arashi and Chara seem to consistently be doing with their weapons. But you saw that member of Kings there knew that they were going to do that, was able to stop that. And now Kings, it's their turn to take control of mid and see if they are in a position to get some clams to get a push going. But Arashi comes out with that hammer, completely shuts down that crab. When I think of crab counters, you know, my first thought is not a hammer, but okay, Arashi completely changed that in my mind.
I was watching that thinking, what is Kuro looking at? Why are they looking down with the crab? What's going on? Is there a bug at the feet? Is there a Tetra in the game? But no, it's just Arashi with a hammer, just sneaking up, just being a nuisance. 3 members down for Kings now, as Last Resort have another opportunity to push it. They break the basket, 57, 54, only a couple clams, but enough to get into the 30s, that's for sure. And another pretty decent push coming out from Last Resort, as Kings struggle here just to finish off the rest of the members of Last Resort. Storm Hero, last one alive, tries something with the crowd, doesn't quite get it. So Kings, another opportunity to take some mid control and to maybe start another push to get their counter ticking.
Yeah, Kings here in that position right before we saw Arashi there come out with that hammer. Kings here once again looking familiar in this position to try and get a push in. You see them try and pop that crab to help their push, but it was instantly canceled. I didn't see exactly what canceled that, and you see them use that bubbler there. They had all their specials ready for a push, but Last Resort, it seems like they are so comfortable on this map. They know exactly how to play offense and defense, and they are completely shutting down this push from Kings. But Kings in turn, this is looking really chaotic. Kings in turn got 3 members down of Last Resort, and they are still holding this plat area. They did not let go to try and continue to get a push in. You can see they are still doing this and just holding this right side drop plat area, and they are just continuing to try and work up there. You can see that Kings is playing a little bit slow here, trying to play a little bit more carefully into this QR comp.
Yeah, they do manage to get the clam score there, and there's another couple coming down. Kings doing a pretty decent job at keeping this one going. They get another score, they've neutralized it, but not looking like they can get any more. Shiratan has been pushed off. Not the lead yet. Oh, Shiltan, he's trying to make space. The clam pool comes in, but it's not enough time as the timing ticks down and that penalty comes into play. And 37 on the scoreboard for Kings, as it's looking like Last Resort are just about neutralizing.
Oh, that got so close. Only 1 clam was needed for Kings to get the lead, and we are about a minute left. We have about a minute left of this game here to see what can happen. And I honestly, what that score says it all. Anything can happen now as we go into the last 45 seconds of this match. You know, and if you look at the clams too, both teams do have their clams at the top left and right of the screen there. Kings, though, does have quite a lot of clams. They have about 16 clams at the ready, 2 specials at the ready. And Arashi here dropping into mid to try and do that typical Arashi aggressive flank that Arashi does. Able to get a trade. And looks like Kings, though, they are just moving on forward, even though they did have a member down. Moving on forward, get 2 members down on the side of Last Resort, 3 members down now. And with 3 members up on the side of Kings, if they can hurry up and make a clam in, they are able to get that power clam in. And just a few clams left to get the lead. Kings able to get the lead at the last few seconds here of this push.
Oh, they need that last clam. Overtime ticking away. Last Resort managed to get the last one. They've got a chance. They've got the overtime chance. They have the clam, but it's ticking quick. They need to go fast. Now, that being said, this is the time. This is the type of environment that Last Resort do thrive in. They managed to get one. They're taking that back control. Arashi looking for another. Doesn't quite get it. Terra shuts them down. The clam does get scored. Just a few clams required. 2 members of Last Resort are alive. Chara making space. Does get one in. Storm Hero and another. But there's 32. They need one more clam. The jump in from Arashi. He gets the clam. He's going to score it. And that's the lead for Last Resort in the last second there. A huge overtime push coming out. And Arashi with the saving clam just at that last second.
Oh
What?
my gosh, I am still comprehending what I just watched. That was insane. That has to be one of the craziest games I've ever watched. That was insane.
incredible, absolutely incredible. A huge play from ProChara there to make the space. They just got that clam in. It was looking like Kings were going to be able to fight them off after that first kill. They killed Arashi. Terra got Arashi, looking like that was going to shut it down. Wasn't quite enough. ProChara and I believe, off the top of my head, I believe it was Storm Hero, were able to push up onto the plat. They got the climb in, and they got a couple extra climbs there and there, and at just enough time. Literally, I could see Arashi right now. He's spamming the A button. He's going for the jump as quick as he can, and he just gets in. Gets the Splatana trade, and one climb was needed, and it's just there. A beautiful ending. Beautiful ending, Rissa.
I know. I like, as soon as I saw Arashi jump in, I was like, okay, he got the jump, but I honestly didn't see fast enough if there were any clams there, so I wasn't sure if Arashi was even going to be able to get a clam in, and that timing was so perfect. That was so clutch. Oh my gosh, that was insane. And looking, a little bit before that too, the way that Kings was able to, get the lead, and then all of a sudden, it only happened a few seconds before that, and then all of a sudden, Last Resort able to just be absolutely clutch and swap that lead really fast. And I like how you said too, Toby, in the middle, that it seems like Last Resort really thrives in that type of environment that really, like, you have to play really fast. It's really high stakes, but that's exactly how Last Resort thrives and plays really well off of.
Yeah, they're quite a quick comp, right? They have to play quick. That's just how the comp plays. They need to be there and overwhelm members of the team with that double wiper. And I mean, look, it's counting down. You just have one clan ball off the respawn. You barely lost the lead in the first place, and Kings are scrambling to get that defense going. It is just the environment you need. Arashi had the hammer, got one, made the space. ProChara Storm already in, and yeah, I mean, look, we're focusing on this. It's still only 2-1. We've still got maybe two matches left in this one. This is best of 5. So Kings on their counter pick is going to be coming through. And then if Kings win the counter pick, it's going to be on to that last map. But a huge one for Last Resort, just to get that third match. Some could say that's really critical in a close game. Like, that middle match is super critical because it puts you in the advantage state. And Kings got to be thinking right now, we need to win this. This is super important. And that tenseness comes into play like a huge amount. And I mean, look, Last Resort, the type of game that they're playing, that super rushy, super like scattered gameplay, it could really put them in a wrong way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you are, it seems like Kings knows exactly that's how they need to figure out, and they're trying to figure out how to counter that really fast, quick respawn play style, and it just comes at you so fast. And if you are not watching everything, it's just so chaotic. And as we've seen continuously here, it can really spiral if you are not watching everything. And it's kind of hard to, do you just counter that really fast play style with fast play style as well? Or do you slow down and try and paint everything and just let them continue to come into you? It's really tricky thinking about how to counter that play style.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Kings, if anybody can do it, it's Kings, right? They've got a storied history, like I said. They're a solid team. And their players are crazy. I mean, we saw loads of things coming out there. Like Kuro had some insane plays. Terra got that triple on the push to even allow that overtime for Last Resort. I mean, well, I say allow it, make the space to get that lead before the overtime was coming in. So we are going to go to Tower Control Inkblot. Someone say Inkblot, like the default map, the basic map. I can see why they want to pick this one. It's familiar, and they can bring this really back to how they used to play maybe during Splatoon 2.
Yeah, a lot of times, these Splatoon 2 maps I see them a lot in counter picks, and it's because everyone knows the maps, we're really familiar with it and know how to play it. So absolutely, I can see why this is picked. And we get to see, looking at the comps too, some comp switch ups on the side of Kings. They're coming out this time with a 52 gal added into the mess here. So maybe that'll be the weapon that'll help them really counter this. It looks like starting out here, Kings able to instantly take down a few members of Last Resort. Chara here riding the tower on with that mini, getting through this first checkpoint really nicely, and you can see Kings here starting to set themselves up to try and make this push even bigger.
Yeah, they got that bubble on the tower. Terra able to make a lot of space for the team. I think the 52 pick is the wall off the Splatana's like chip damage, really, isn't it? It's to allow them to move around and make more space. They do get a pretty decent first checkpoint push, but Arashi and ProChara are managing to take down the rest of the aggressive members and stabilize just a little bit here. They don't have mid control quite back yet. Arashi, okay, got absolutely demolished there by Sheraton. A huge Flushing Machine play, manages to get 2, and the push is alive again for Kings.
Yeah, King's able to completely stop Last Resort as they were coming into mid, and now pushing up into Last Resorts. We say that's the bats area. They are able to create so much space. I totally agree with what you said about that 52 gal and the wall. It's really helping them shut down and completely stop that wiper and stamper, paired with this machine so nicely. I mean, this machine is able to create so much space, and it's working so well as they are able to get the tower all the way down to 25, and they are going to continue juggling it to try and get as many points as they can.
Yeah, are getting shut down a little bit here. Not quite stabilized yet, though. Last Resort, they have a little bit of work to do to get back in. Kings made such a large push that they're already back in mid by the time that the tower is going to be resetting. So they have to start making... They at least have to win this first fight to even start thinking about pushing. Specials are on board all across the board, in fact. The hammer comes out, the crab comes out, the booyah is almost ready as well. I think they're going to hold on to that one for the checkpoint. And 3 members of Kings already down. So that fight win has come through for Last Resort, and they have an opportunity here to push that tower.
This is setting up really nicely for Last Resort, as Havoc there had to turn around. I like the recognition, that realizing that there was someone in mid. Now there's another member of Kings actually in mid there, Shelton there, trying to flank around the tower, and it's actually completely separating the focus of where Last Resort needs to be focused here. There's focus ahead of the tower, there was focus behind the tower, and now Last Resort, having members do go down, they have to jump back. We saw Storm Hero jump back there to regroup and reset. They know that Kings here, with all these specials at the ready, is getting ready to get another push in.
Yeah, Crab comes out early, manages to shut Shelton down on that Zipcaster. Flat control back in for Last Resort, but no mid yet. They're sending people in, they're trying to take that space again, but losing members quite quickly as Kings keep the tower alive. They're not pushing it a particularly large amount, but they're keeping it alive just to keep it close enough that if they do make a push, it's not 3 fight wins they have to get, it's just 2.
Yeah, that's really smart. When you're Kings right now, you know that you have a lead of 21. You don't necessarily need to push the tower too much. You know, with about 1:30 seconds left of this, they know that it's going to be Last Resort that needs to do something big in order to get a push. So the longer that Kings can stall this out and just not let Last Resort even get to the tower, the better it's going to be for Kings. You can see they're just holding mid here, letting members of Last Resort drop into mid, and Last Resort cannot figure out right now how to get into mid and what specials they need. They need to figure out how to pair up their specials to get into mid and get in a position where they can even get on tower to get a push going.
Yeah, Kings loses 2 members, but so do Last Resort. 3 members actually down now for Kings. So Last Resort, they have the advantage. They recognize that there is someone behind them, just stopping them in their track. They have to worry about that player as the rest of Kings filter in, do manage to take out the Sloshing Machine, and it's pretty much another wipe for Last Resort as Kings come back in and control that midsection of the map.
I love the way that Kings is utilizing they seem to consistently have a member flanking around the tower, and that is really, distracting Last Resort, and they have someone else come around the other side and just completely wrap around Last Resort and shut down anything that Last Resort did want to do. So going into the last 10 seconds of this match, 2 members are down, 3 members down now as Chara goes down there. Unfortunately, Storm Hero trying to do everything he can to just dive to the tower, make something happen, maybe get some jump-ins, but the tower is completely guarded there with that bubbler and the Booyah Bomb being thrown at it. Kings taking this game 4 and tying up this set 2-2, so we will be heading to a game 5.
I got to put it all on Sheraton here. Sheraton absolutely demolishing with that 52. The wall was huge. It was a great switch. Good recognizing that the Tanners can't do much against it, and the Sloshing Machine is going to struggle to get through it too. You're making space. You're keeping them at a distance. And the Whale as well, funnily enough, was doing a lot of work. Like the isolating crab players, just slowing the game down. Like you said, that's what they needed to do, right? They needed to either match the pace or slow the game down completely and put the onus on Last Resort to push in and push it into a wall, push it into a mini. Are you crazy? Are you just trying to run into them? It's not going to work out for you. And the mist and the walls and everything. Honestly, it was just masterful play by Kings to keep Last Resort at arm's length that whole time. And that's brought it to a 2-2. Like you said, now we're on our final map. Counterpick does go towards Last Resort, so they do get to choose what map and mode we're going to finish this on. No Clamblitz, no tower control for them, but we're going to see where they decide to go with this. I'm not honestly that sure. I could see them going Rainmaker, but do you think they'd bring it back to Splat Zones? I don't know.
I don't know either. That's really hard because you going into this, it's game 5. This is the set match where you need to win it. Are you going to pick Rainmaker, which you know that Kings will probably be not as strong on, or do you pick Splat Zones? Because I feel like, you know, generally in high competitive levels, everyone's pretty comfortable in Splat Zones in general, but Kings in particular are going to be very, very strong since that is the main mode played for Japanese players. So that's such a tricky point to be in, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about. Like Splat Zones, like we consider it the Japanese map mode, right? You don't pick that against, or like you're gonna struggle against Japanese players, but the Western scene loves Splat Zones. Like we still love Splat Zones. It's the mode, right? It's the basic. Everybody's learned it. Everybody's used to it. It is the mode. So I was curious to see if they would pick going into that. I believe we're going to be going towards Rainmaker Scorch Gorge, which is definitely an interesting pick from Last Resort. Again, with the sort of large towers which you can zip cast off of, space to be made with the Tanas here, and maybe on Rainmaker here, maybe trying to minimize the 52, like maybe try and make it so Sheraton can't pick that. Because there are a lot of angles that you aren't protected against with that wall on Scorch Gorge. So I'm curious where they're going to go with this.
I know, I am too. And I'm also wondering, is Kings going to switch up their comp at all? Because, like you've highlighted, that comp worked out really well for them in the last game in particular. I'm thinking that maybe Scorch Gorge was picked because it is not one of those... Of course, any Rainmaker game can stagger, but Scorch Gorge seems to be a little bit chaotic if neither team can really get a hold of mid, and it can be a little bit stally and longer, so I'm wondering if that's why they picked it, and it's not as easy to completely KO it, I guess I should say.
Well, we'll see going into this, to be honest. I think... Yeah, this is Scorch. Yeah, I'm right. This is Scorch. I knew it was gonna be Scorch. I got a bit confused because I was like, wait, did we get debated by the by? Have you seen that glitch where you go into a map select and sometimes it needs a different map?
I've seen that.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, I know I've seen it happen with Scorch Gorge before, but no, we are going into this. The 52 is going to come out. In fact, King's running the same comp, I believe, as they ran before, and that double wiper from Last Resort. So we'll see how this one plays out for them. Chara does go down quite early, but that's maybe not going to be a huge thing here, as the hammer comes out from Arashi, managing to take down 2 off the rip. A huge start now for Last Resort.
Last Resort able to do a really good job at taking mid, and Arashi able to get the 2 picks initially and just continue to create space for their team. Shelton there able to stop that Rainmaker so it's not able to get to that first checkpoint, but with the quick plays that we see continuously from Last Resort, Chara able to grab the Rainmaker and also get all those jump-ins for their teammate. That is exactly that playstyle that they have, where they play really fast like that, able to have that awareness to wait for your teammates to know that you need to wait for the jump-ins to come in. Now able to get through this first checkpoint, we see a crab come out, and Last Resort is trying to continue this push.
Yeah, huge. Oh, 2 members down already. In fact, no, this is looking pretty strong for Last Resort. They're staggering the hell out of Kings. They're making a push to 44, which isn't too huge, right? But that first checkpoint this early in the game, massive. And the Booyah Bomb is around. So if they want to pop that, yeah, there it comes. Here's the Booyah Bomb and the hammer as a combo. They're going to rush it through maybe. Oh, but the pick comes out, stopping that Rainmaker attempt. That could have been really dangerous for Kings there.
That could have been so dangerous. Just having that recognition of, okay, avoid these specials, but also we need to stop the Rainmaker. That could have been absolutely deadly for Kings if they were not able to survive that and have that type of awareness. So I like that Kings is actually grabbing the Rainmaker. Terra drops it down into mid, and even if Terra does go down there, not able to get a push going, they know that that quick play style of the way that Last Resort plays, someone could easily sneak around and have grabbed that Rainmaker if Kings didn't grab it and drop it into mid. So now the Rainmaker is in mid. Both teams looking chaotic as these two teams we've seen continuously them be this throughout this set, and now the Rainmaker is once again in control of Last Resort.
Oh, unfortunately there for Arashi, was looking for the cheeky kill there on the jump, but recognized by Kings and slowed down. Kuro, hello, Kuro? Kuro? Managing to take out 2 members. In fact, all of Last Resort going down. A huge split play there. And I think the thing is as well for Kings here, you don't want to keep that Rainmaker mid, like you said, for the flanks, but also it opens up loads of different locations that they can get fired on from. And getting to that top right, even if you aren't getting the checkpoint, kind of reduces the area that they have to worry about. 2 members do go down for Last Resort, actually, and Kings with a bit of an advantage. They have the checkpoint. They're looking towards that push. The Booyah Bomb is nearly online for Shiratan. Actually, it does come out. They are trying to focus it down. Do manage to take out Shiratan, and the Booyah was focused on the individual, but the Rainmaker in a bit of a dangerous place right now.
Rainmaker is definitely in a dangerous place, and you could see there that Kings tried to grab the Rainmaker to push it a little bit more, but was completely shut down there by the members circling in on that for Last Resort. But Kings here is doing a really good job at actually holding this right side, and they did not back into mid. They held their space, and that has allowed them once again to grab the Rainmaker. Chara there in control of the Rainmaker, even though there are 2 members down on the side of Kings. Chara there tried to stall it out a little bit more, maybe potentially get a push in, but the defense from Last Resort was very, very good. We saw Storm Hero come out with that crab and paired with their teammates able to stop that Rainmaker. So now Last Resort once again grabbing the Rainmaker, now doing the same thing that Kings did, grabbing the Rainmaker and trying to push it out into mid so that way no one can sneak through and grab the Rainmaker to get the lead.
Yeah, I mean, Shelltown was up on that top right. It looked dangerous right there because on the snipe when he was there, he had the jumps. He could have just brought the whole of Kings back in. They have dropped it onto the bottom left of the map. That little corner right there, which they put the Rainmaker in, absolute pain to push out of. So quite smart thinking from Last Resort to sort of pigeonhole Kings in this last 30 seconds of the game. That's right, the game's already been going on for 4 minutes 30, and it's been non-stop the whole time. They pick up the Rainmaker again, or actually didn't want to drop it off the map, jumping on the barrier to try and just like keep it in play. And Kings, they have to pop that, and then they have the entire map to go to get there. Rashi was again looking for the reset. 15 seconds left, 2 members of Last Resort down, but that doesn't really matter when they're already going to be respawned. Storm, the crab is close. There's not much time left. 1 member goes down for Last Resort. It's going to be on the wire. It's going to be an overtime push if Kings want to finish this one off.
Kings have to be so careful here as we are in overtime. You see that whale come out for Kings to try and help them get a push in. We see the Zipcaster come out from Chara. Chara shut down there by Kings, and now Kings here pushing in. They have to be really careful, avoid this Booyah Bomb. They're continuing to get picks in. They know that it's just the sword, and this might be the push that they need to get the lead. They still have to play this really carefully as members from Last Resort are dropping down. They are just getting all these picks that they need, and that's the complete wipeout with only 12 seconds remaining for holding the Rainmaker. Kings in overtime able to take the lead and take game 5 of that set.
Last Resort really struggling there right at the end to try and stabilize. I mean, it is hard to stabilize when you have so many weapons just like up in your face, just stopping you from getting in. And I mean, we saw it on the Clown Blitz for Last Resort, and we see the overtime push here for Kings just to take that last map and bring us to a 3-2. Unfortunate for Last Resort, but Kings, some incredible play there on Scorched Gorge to keep that one alive and to finish that map off strong.